Hello, hello. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I'm so excited because on today's Financial Friday, we have a special guest by the name of Natalie Bullen. Oh my goodness, I've been waiting for this one for a minute, and she is going to speak about unapologetic wealth. And the reason that I'm so excited about this is because I'll say it this way. Last night in my Bible study group, we talked a lot about bravery and boundaries because we're going through the book of Joshua and we're speaking about leadership. And as we were speaking about those things, I'm like, this is perfect. This ties in perfectly with being unapologetic. And when it comes to our money and what we want out of our life, when it comes to wealth and financial resources, it's easy for us to be very humble or be shy. Some of us have to change our mentality about money and asking for the things that we want. So it is just on time for us to have this conversation. And Natalie is the person to pour into us today because she is definitely unapologetic. And I just love her coaching style. So I'm going to make sure I don't miss any words in this beautiful woman's introduction. Natalie Bullen is a wealth and money mindset coach from Mobile, Alabama. As the owner of Unapologetic Wealth LLC, she teaches consults. She teaches coaches, consultants, and expert online service providers to raise their prices, view sales as service, and unlock sales genius so they can step into the wealth they desire and deserve. So, without further ado, I want to introduce to some and present to others Miss Natalie Bullen. Natalie, how are you doing on today?
I'm so excited. I love talking about money. This is going to be fun. Thank you for the warm welcome and introduction.
You are welcome. You are welcome. So, as I mentioned before, I've been thinking a lot about boundaries. I've been thinking a lot about bravery. So, how important is it for us to have boundaries when it comes to our money and building wealth?
It's huge. I almost wrote a book on boundaries. If you haven't read the book Boundaries, you should. It's a bestseller for a reason. I think what we forget is that boundaries are a good thing. They're a hedge to protect what we've built. And often, especially in Black communities, we just don't protect our wealth. We usually are underinsured. We don't have wills. We've never met with a trust or an estate attorney. We might not have, anything doing credit monitoring. We typically have a lot of our assets that are loose, right? That are free for somebody to be able to attach to, even having adequate business insurance. So all of those things are boundaries. Just like you put a hedge around your union, I put a hedge around unapologetic wealth where it cannot be taken out by somebody unscrupulous. Having your intellectual property secured, that is a form of a boundary. Try to use unapologetic wealth in print somewhere and see what happened to you. We would hit you with the right? I think it's important for people to understand it's just business. I'm in business to make a profit, and I can't do that if somebody sues me and I'm unprotected, or if my contract isn't up to par, or if my website isn't secure. So be thinking about, all the money you invested in entrepreneurship. Do you really want one unfortunate event, one unscrupulous vendor, one low down client to sweep away all of your hard work?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that because I help business owners and medical professionals create and build and grow a retirement. And so many of the things that you said are definitely applicable for
Yeah.
entrepreneurs, business owners, and medical professionals with their own practice, like the OBGYNs, the dentists. It's very important that we do have those things in place. Now, another thing I want to ask you about is bravery. So, some of us have grown up in, let's just say, communities in which we may have been taught that we should give everything that we have. And it's bad for us to aspire to be wealthy or aspire to have those nice things. And just being frank, like I grew up in church, and I know some churches and some church people feel it's a bad thing. See, it feels a bad thing to want to have wealth, and people misuse it and misquote and say, "Oh, money is evil." No, that's not what the word says. But anyway, I'm not going to get into what the word says about money, but I do want to speak about bravery. What are some things we can do to shift our mindset as it pertains to money and believing that we deserve to be wealthy? I believe I've seen it on your page that our wealth is our birthright. Like,
Absolutely.
that's important. What can we do to shift that mindset and not have that mindset of, if I aspire to be wealthy or financially independent, it's a bad thing, because people around me will say, no, you're not supposed to be that way, or you're being selfish. Like, how can we be more brave?
One, I'm going to say, as a Christian, as a person who loves the Lord and goes to church, get out of any church that tell you got to be poor to be in alignment with God. If it's a sin for you to be rich at your church, that's because here's the thing. How can you show up fully? How can you feed the poor? How can you clothe the poor? How can you give your tithe? How can you do it broke? I've never seen it done well. So for me, having prosperity is being able to give back to advance the kingdom of God. Period. If you are watching this and you are not a Christian, you deserve money for yourself. How about that? You are reason enough to have lots of money. I think we like to create a coping mechanism for things we don't have. And I believe that the reason the Black church specifically talks a lot about, you're too flashy, you got too much, you shouldn't want too much, is because we've had to deal without. We've had lack as a community as a whole for hundreds of years. And I think we've just learned to cope by saying, it's okay if you broke. It's okay if you poor. We all poor. And that's all right. We still love the Lord. And I think that has just gotten pushed into you shouldn't want for too much. I think it's a protective mechanism. People saying, look, I don't want you to get hurt. I don't want you to shoot too far up and you can't hit it. I don't want you pining for a whole lot of money because you ain't never going to get it. So just stay here where it's safe, and we'll take care of you. It's well-meaning, I think. I think the sentiment is well placed, but it's incorrect. And the truth is, if you want to be wealthy, you are going to have to do something different that other people don't do. The median income for Black people in this country is like 30-something thousand. It's a really low number. Like, you look at the census, it's a really tiny, small number. I'm not accepting that. I'm not going to raise no family of 4 on 40,000. That's just not going to happen for me. And I'm in Alabama. Alabama is the second poorest state. So I was exposed to people making $20 an hour that thought they were making lots of money because everybody else in their family was making minimum wage. I know what poverty does, but I'm not willing to allow myself to shrink and say, you know what? If other people are afraid to make lots of money, I need to be afraid to make lots of money. You just have to accept that you're going to be different and you're going to be set apart. Christians are peculiar anyway. That's in the word. So you might as well just accept your peculiarity and go get your money, right? But I can't serve you. How do I have the time to show up and do this Instagram live? Because my financial needs are met. If my financial needs were not met, guess what I'd be doing? Working a second job, begging in the DMs, trying to rope up some old clients. I'd be like, girl, I ain't got time. I'm sorry. I ain't made no money. This is what has afforded me the luxury of time. How do I spend more time with my husband? If I ever have children, how will I spend time with my children? You meet people working 2-3 jobs. They miss their children's lives. They miss them completely. The kids turn 18 and don't want to have nothing to do with them because they weren't there in their formative years. How is that edifying or glorifying God, working yourself into dust for pennies? How? So honestly, I don't even know if it's a statement of bravery. I think it's just a statement of fact. It takes money to live in the United States, period. Now, I can't speak for other countries because I don't live there. I have a friend who moved to Ecuador who told me she lives in a mostly cashless village where they barter with people. But in the United States, you need cash, full stop. So I think it's a smarter use of our time to just accept that and work on magnifying our gifts so we can make more money instead of trying to pretend like money is not important, because that's kind of played out really as an excuse.
Very, very valuable. So very look, I'm just soaking it in. I'm just soaking it in. I'll be honest, y'all. When this lady goes live, like it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I could be cleaning my car. I'm gonna turn it all the way up, and I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. But I'm gonna listen to what she has to say, because she just, I don't know. It's just something about her. So you definitely should follow her on social media. So here's another thing that I want you to answer for me. So in terms of like wealth, like, how do you know that you have reached the status of being a wealthy person, in your opinion? Like, how do I know I'm wealthy now?
That's an interesting question. I don't know that anyone's ever asked me that. I think everyone has to come to their own definition of what wealth means to them, because I can be financially rich but unhappy in my marriage or sick or tired and think to myself, I'm not wealthy, right? To me, having wealth is having money you cannot outlive. That is where I start my definition. So, you look at somebody like Jay-Z, right? Um, Jay-Z has over a $600 million personal net worth. Beyonce's got like another 500 million net worth, like liquid cash. Then they've got the businesses. Then they've got millions of dollars of art. And they've already started to layer money in for their children, right? They've already started to hire the kids for the businesses. They've already maxed out Roth IRAs. They've already started this funnel that they can also, like, if Jay-Z was killed right now, that's fine. His family will be taken care of forever. His kids, his grandkids, his great-great-grandkids. As long as they continue to manage those funds wisely, the Carter family cannot outlive that money. To me, that is wealth. You look at like the Rockefellers. People, you cannot outlive it. So most of us right now, if we stop working today, we might have enough money to last us to win Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas,
Halloween.
Christmas. Maybe if you stop working right now, you didn't take on another client. How long could you make it? Most of us couldn't make it into 2023. So if you got money that could last you years and years and years and years and years, that to me, that is wealth. Now, does it have to be hundreds of millions of dollars? No, you could have a very well balanced portfolio that is throwing off dividends every quarter. I mean, I had clients when I worked in banking who had maybe $2 million in their retirement accounts, which is possible even for people with a 401k. I've met 401k millionaires. It's possible if you work a W-2 job and you put 10 or 15% in your 401k. The difference is we just don't. Again, Black people historically contribute maybe half of what our white peers contribute. We just aren't told. We just aren't taught, so you meet people 30, 40, 50 in corporate that still have nothing in their 401k because they've never been taught you need to prioritize making these kind of retirement investments. So for me, it is having money that you cannot outlive. It is actually having generations of wealth. But I think a good place for people to start is, do you have enough to meet all of your needs? Do you have enough to meet most of your wants? And then do you have a wealth plan in place, like a legacy plan? So if you have children, that means, do you have life insurance? If you have a business, do you have the appropriate vehicles there? I think the smartest thing wealthy people do is hire a team. That's one thing that I really push my clients to do, because in general, we don't do it. We do our own taxes. We don't have a will, and we hate life insurance, and we die and get tied up in probate like Prince or Aretha Franklin, people who knew they were sick, people who knew they had dependents, people who knew they had assets, and yet they still died. Chadwick Boseman had stage 4 cancer, still didn't have a will. You telling me you didn't think you was going to die with stage 4 cancer? You didn't think it was possible? You didn't think it was possible. He married his girlfriend, so clearly he knew something was up. They had been dating for years. Why did he marry her? Because he thought her being married to him would immediately fix his estate problem. But that's not always true. Anybody could have tried to attach assets to that will, and it doesn't matter if they would have had a claim. It still would have been a legal expense to disprove. You could have gone to Chadwick Boseman's hearing and said, I have a claim to that money. It didn't have to be legitimate. The lawyers would have had to have spent money to investigate who you were and what you said was owed to you. Whether you got paid or not, that still is money that would have gotten taken from the estate in legal fees. So why do we do it? Why do we leave ourselves unprepared? If I could just get us to understand three things that wealthy people do. One, wealthy people out earn us. That's why you hire me. I help you earn more money. Okay. Two, they maximize the tax code. So they save money every year by not giving it all to the IRS. And three, they have legacy plans in place with other financial professionals, estate planning, life insurance, annuities, stocks, investments, real estate, whatever that looks like. They don't do it by themselves. They have family offices of financial professionals. So if you listening to this, you watching this, one minor thing, get you a qualified financial opinion, not Pookie them. Somebody licensed with FINRA, somebody who's a money coach, someone who is a banker, a loan officer, a realtor, a lawyer, and have a financial assessment done so you can see where you are. You won't be able to get wealthy if you don't get to a point of stability. And a lot of us aren't even stable right now, and we don't even know it. And a couple little tweaks could be the difference between having and not having in the end.
Wow.
I'm off my soapbox.
Yeah, look, that was a lot to unpack, especially with me being a licensed life insurance agent and retirement specialist. I'm processing and I'm thinking, and I'm like, man, there's a lot that I can say to that. But
I'm so proud you're doing the work you're doing. I don't sell life insurance. I have a life insurance active license. I don't sell it because I get so tired of folks trying to act like they're not gonna die and they don't want to buy this life insurance. I'm not equipped. You are a blessing. I am not equipped for the foolishness that's out here in these life insurance streets. If you broke now, you buy it. I don't understand. I'll never get if I die, Dave's a millionaire. Period. Let's put that out there. So I walk my talk. He will be able to pay off our home. He'd be able to, buy a new car. He'd be able to maintain his studio where he does his photography and art. He'd be able to travel. He'd be able to remarry if he needs to. He needs the help. Like, I don't want my husband to be broke because I died. That doesn't make sense to me. And we say we love each other. And it's like, oh, you love your kids. Your kids got a closet full of J's, no kind of protection at all. Something happened to you. I guess they're going to be sleeping in the closet with them J's until they evict them from your house, right? Like, the way that we've been trained around money is so flawed. And I'll be so happy when there's more recognition. So kudos to you for doing what you do. It's really a ministry.
Yes, it is. Thank you very much. And one of the things that you said was, in the Black community, we are not putting as much in our retirement plans. And I don't think necessarily it's because people don't want to. I think it's because a lot of, or at least the people that I know and I've met with, is because they're not making enough money. And
I thought that too. I used to think that. I don't believe that anymore. So
you don't tell me why you don't believe that.
I was working, as a generalization, I was working at the bank, and my branch manager, when the stock market first dipped, like in 2018, there was like a correction, 10-20%. It was so long ago, we done forgot about it now because the stock market's going crazy. But he was very upset. And I was like, you okay? He has ADHD. So he already was kind of fidgety, but he seemed real amped up. And I was like, you all right? And he was like, no, the stock market is down. It's crushing me. And, at the time I had maybe 30,000 in my 401k. I was putting maybe 6%. I was making $51,000 a year in salary. So, I didn't have a lot in my 401k. So I had lost maybe 5%, so like, $1,500. Nothing major. It wasn't bothering me, but he was losing it. And I went in his office and I was like, are you okay? He was like, no, I've lost like $100,000 today. And then it clicked. I'm like, wait, the market only down like 5-10%. You got $1 million in your 401k? Like, I started doing the math and I'm like, he was like, no, I have $1 million. I have like 350,000. My boss was only a few years older than me. Yeah, he made 70K, but he also had 3 children and a wife that didn't work. He was raising a family of 5 on
Mm.
70,000. So arguably he was making more than me because I was single making 51K. He was married with 3 children under the age of 8, making 70K. He started working when I started working, but somehow he had 350K and I had 30K. So is it that he made more money than me? No, he was more disciplined. Somebody taught him from the beginning. You put 10% of your income in a 401k, period, from day one of working. You don't live off 100% of your money ever. That's what Black people are taught. We're taught if your check is 150, that's 150 for you. You pay your tax and the rest is yours. That's what we're taught. Nobody sits here and says, did you know that the money you make at your job is not all yours? That maybe 80% of it's yours and that you should put 10% of it in the stock market and 10% of it in your savings? I was not taught that as a child. I was taught about saving but not investing. So no, it was never taught to me from, even if you're working at Cracker Barrel waiting tables, if they have a 401k, you should be putting something in it. I think we just aren't educated. Because I could have done what he was doing had I known different. I didn't know any different. It wasn't that I couldn't afford 10%. And I just want to go on record of saying I've never had a high paying job. That job at the bank making 51,000 is the largest salary I've ever made. So this is not somebody with a 6-figure salary telling you to save more, do better. I'm saying if you get in the habit of needing every penny that you earn, you'll never be able to stop working. So if you just get in the habit now of putting 3 or 6% of your 401k, you don't even miss that money. So I don't know. I don't know. It's that we just so broke. I think we're uneducated.
Well, here's the thing I will say now, in terms of me, I actually don't like the 401k, but I do love the fact that it does provide people a place to start. I heard you mention like the waiters and waitresses, like they should start. What I've learned, many of them, they don't have a 401k. They don't have anything that they can actually use. Invest in for their retirement. And so that's where we, like you said, have to come in and be educators. We have to come in and do this ministry because it is work. It's not all about the money. I mean, the money is good when you are, doing it right. It's good. However, it is okay after you have, like you said, after you've earned the money, then you're able to go back and help those without. So I just wanted to say that it's important for us to start somewhere.
As long as it's not Robin Hood.
Why not Robin Hood? No, never mind. I'm like, look, you listen. You got
inflammatory today. I know I'm a ruffle the feathers, but you gave me a platform. That's what happens. I don't care where you open your brokerage account, as long as it's not Robinhood. Robinhood does not allow beneficiaries. So you die with all that money in the account and go to probate. We just talked about this. We literally just talked about this. They also let people get in really risky investments and trade on margin. Like if people don't know any better, they could really get themselves into a serious bad situation. That young man committed suicide because of that error of Robinhood on a margin account. So I can't condone whatever they got going on over there. I appreciate them making it easy, but making it easy doesn't mean you have to make it unsafe, right? If you go to sleep with your door unlocked to your car, it's easy to get in it, but it's easy for your car to get stolen as well. So you have to balance security and ease, and I don't think Robinhood's doing a good job of that. But literally anyone else, Vanguard, TD Ameritrade, anybody else, hire Terry, anybody else but Robinhood, get started and try something. But if you have a 401k and your company offers you a match, that is free money. And I'm going to tell somebody to pick up those free coins, period. It also comes out of their payroll, so they don't have to take a extra action. And I have found that when people have IRAs, they have to remember to fund them. And then they have to know how to invest the money, which a lot of people get stuck. So they'll have $10,000 in an IRA, but it's invested in cash. It's not even invested in securities because they don't know what securities to pick. So just hire Terry if you don't know what we're talking about. That's where I'm at as a recap.
I appreciate that, Natalie. So, Natalie, unapologetic wealth. Yes. Tell us, how did you become unapologetic in your pursuit of wealth, because you already shared your highest paying job only offered you a salary of 51,000.
Mhm.
And I know you're in Alabama. That works different in different cities.
That's true. It's not as poor here as it sounds, but it ain't a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly.
I
So
think you hit the nail on the head, because I wasn't making money and I knew it wasn't right. I believe truly that wealth is my birthright. I believe that because of who I am as a person, as a child of the Most High God, as an exceptional human being, that I already deserve to be wealthy. I don't have to earn it. I don't have to do long, laborious, hard work. It's mine. And I realized I was never going to get it from corporate, at least not the corporate track I was on. No one's ever offered me a 6-figure salary. If that ever happens, maybe I'll reassess how I feel about it. But as of right now, I don't feel like corporate makes us wealthy. I'm like, I could do a better job. And I knew I was called to eradicate poverty in communities of color. I just didn't know how, but I knew I was called to do something. And this is just really an offshoot of what I knew I should be doing. I also felt out of alignment. How can you go to work dealing with affluent clients, high net worth clients, ultra high net worth clients, and you're broke? Ultra high net worth is 30 million in liquid assets. High net worth is 1 million in liquid assets. I had clients in both classes. Imagine showing up to a meeting in an Ann Taylor suit with somebody who got $30 million in liquid asset, and you ain't got $30 to put gas in your car. You're not going to feel in alignment. Imagine being the only Black person at your branch for 5 years and having people walk in and go, "That's the wealth advisor? I don't want her." You don't have any men here? You don't have any? It's just her? Imagine that.
Oh, another conversation for
So I just was like, this isn't what God wanted me to do. This can't be the totality of what God has for me. It can't be. It can't be. I don't know what it is. It can't be this. So I need to do something else. So that's literally how I got into it. And I started in finance. I was a financial planner. I pivoted more into sales and mindset because I realized retirement is great, saving is great, but in business, a lot of us aren't making enough money. We'll go from 6-figure salaries. It's so strange. I have clients that were making $100, $150, $200, $300,000 a year in corporate, go into business and start doing consultations for $150. I mean, it's the craziest thing. They were experts at the top of their game in corporate, go into business and let all that mind trash rob them of their profit. So I felt like it was a better use for me to say, look, you have the wherewithal, the ability to make more money, right? And I help people in 2 ways. I give them my proven pricing framework, which is, how do you price this where you're not leaving profit on the table? How do you price your stuff to where you can pay yourself well and build wealth? And how do you price your services where you attract the type of client you want? And then I teach them my sales siren system, which is, how do you become so magnetic and charismatic and irresistible that when you go live, people have to watch it, that when you make an offer, people have to buy it. My people are already warmed up and pre-sold. It really doesn't matter what I sell. The offer is not as important as the company and the brand and who I am. How do you get that? I teach people that. And if you have those 2 things, if you have your sales confidence on 10 and you have your offers priced in the right way, you will make more money. And then I can send them to somebody like you and say, look, hey, I helped her make 100K, help her manage it, so that they don't fall into the same traps that we typically do. We'll get a windfall. How many of us have gotten $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 tax refund? Where's that money go? That could have been enough to get an Airbnb off the ground. I know people that started their whole rental empire with $10,000, $15,000, bought a tax lien, bought a fix and flip. We'll get $10,000, $15,000, blow it in Miami. That's not even a real trip. So I love the idea of partnering with other financial professionals to say, look, I helped them get the bag. Please help them keep it.
You're a blessing. You're in ministry too.
I am.
When you're dealing with people in their mindsets, like, it takes patience. And that takes a gift, because I mean, that shift, like, sometimes I know you're like this on the inside. You may be smiling, you know,
on the outside,
very strong. You're not smiling. You unapologetic.
You like, look. On the outside. They be sitting there, they be like, But Natalie, I have to charge $97 for this. You don't understand. My audience doesn't have any money and we're going into a recession. And I should be like, you finished or you done? You done or you finished?
Or are you done?
You finished or are you done? Okay, so I was listening to that foolishness and I went ahead and priced it at $1,200. You're welcome. Mm-hmm. Go forth and sell. No one's gonna buy it at that price. Not if you don't offer it. You're right. Duh, you're gonna have to put it out there. But like, I think there's a fear of putting something out that doesn't sell because people think it's a failure. But my thing is this: how does anybody know that it's sold or not? If you put a VIP day out there where you clean up people's finances in a day and nobody buys it, who knew but you? How does anybody on the internet know what you sold or didn't sell? How would they know unless you told them? So like, at least you got data, you got clicks, you got leads, you got DMs, you got questions. You can take that offer, you can tweak it, and you can do better next time. Nobody has to know it failed but you. So a lot of us are allowing embarrassment to creep in when we don't even have a place for that. I don't let people embarrass me online because the only way I could be embarrassed is if I let you make me embarrassed. I'm not going to allow that. And the only way I could feel bad about my business is if I tell you something you ain't had no business knowing and you rub it in my face. So I'm just not going to tell you. Like, trial and error is part of the marketing process. You're not going to be able to retain clients, get clients, capture clients if you don't put offers. Make more offers. That's how you make more money. It's straight line logic. But our brains let us get really confused. You know, we have a fear of rejection and we think, you know, if this didn't work, if people didn't buy, it's because I'm wrong, stupid, bad, not good enough. And we let that kind of unworthiness creep in and ain't no money there. Like, I just feel like you need to stay in a rich mind frame. And a rich mind frame is optimistic, opportunistic, and elite. I'm trying to be the best. I'm trying to get all the coins that are here for me, and I'm looking for things to turn out well. I'm not looking for all the people who can't pay and all the reasons why it's not going to work out. Again, that is corporate trauma, childhood trauma, financial trauma. Go to a therapist, work it out. But if you right now don't have the money that you want, you have full control of changing that. It's not up to somebody else. If you're waiting on the United States to wake up one day and decide that you personally deserve to be wealthy and cut you a check, you will be waiting the rest of your life. They have been petitioning for restitution since my mother was a child. She's in her 70s. Stop waiting on the government to cut you a check. It's not coming. Make your own bag. I've been able to replace my corporate salary and quit my job within 6 months of entrepreneurship. And I don't have any kind of skill that other people don't have. I don't have a STEM skill. I didn't have a high-paying job. I didn't have LinkedIn connections. I didn't have a sugar daddy. I didn't have nothing. I had 6-figure student loan debt, a past bankruptcy. I had no fancy assets. There's nothing on paper about Natalie that says Natalie should be a millionaire. Absolutely not. It's illogical. Go out and do something illogical with your life. Decide you're going to be rich and stand on that. That's where I'm at. I'm not going to let somebody tell me what I can and cannot have, period.
Mm-hmm. Unapologetic wealth. Unapologetic wealth.
I need you as a hype woman every day.
Unapologetic. Okay. So, Natalie, is there anything else that you want to share with us before we wrap up this live?
Follow me on Instagram, of course. And then if you're interested in my services, you can go to my website, nataliebullen.com.
Okay, awesome. You can put that in the comment section of this live. We are live on my Facebook page, on my Facebook profile, and also on LinkedIn. Thank you so much for being here with us on this Financial Friday. I actually spoke to one of my Facebook friends who's a doctor this week, and she said, yeah, I discovered you one day because I saw you were going live on a Friday. And I was like, really? I was like, let me make sure I do that more often. So I know that people are watching. I know people are being blessed, and it's great for people to be able to hear from people like you with a similar or even different perspective as it pertains to wealth building, because it's going to take all of us. It's going to take all of us to be able to have this shift in our community that we want to have and for women in general. It was like I got a heart for women. Me and y'all know I love y'all in different type of way. But for the women, like we have some work to do, especially when some of us are making more money than we've ever made before, but our
Yep.
bank accounts are still empty. Well, let me
Yep.
not say our. Y'all bank accounts are still empty because okay, let
Just
me stop.
trying to be
All right.
nice.
Well, I hope y'all have a fantastic Friday. Natalie, thank you so very much. And if you are listening to this live, thank you. If you're watching the replay, please put in the comment section #replay. If you feel someone can be inspired, motivated, encouraged by this video, share it with them. Tag them in it as well.
Yes.
Have a fabulous Friday, everybody. Until next time. Adios.